games like you spoke of on your schedule, how big would it be, how significant would a victory be for the quote-unquote branding of this program, the identity of it nationally, just like people, caught your eye, caught your attention when you guys beat Notre Dame?
It's big for us. It's big from a national image standpoint. And I've talked, since I've been here, all these games are big, and I'm appreciative to Doug Willard and the athletic department for the games that we have scheduled. And I know with this year with Miami and with Notre Dame, next year with Florida State and Miami, I mean, some of the games that we're having the opportunity to play, it's a great opportunity for us to make a splash from a national standpoint with programs like this that have won national championships and competed at that level. The two sides of it we continue to talk about is, one, these great games, but on the other side is having the opportunity to win this Big East Conference. And those are the two things that we have in conference and out of conference. And this will be a great non-conference opportunity for us to make another splash and just to show the progress that this program is going. I know winning this game a year ago did an awful lot for us, but I also know that winning this game a year ago is going to light a fire in the other camp, and they're going to come in here and utilize that as motivation and excitement and enthusiasm to come in here and play this football game.
How much of a bounce did you get off that win down there last year?
Well, and I said, you never really know. Does it make a difference from a recruiting standpoint? I definitely think maybe not just that one win, but all these wins. When you look at the win there last year, and the win with Clemson, and the win with Notre Dame, and the win with Florida State, and the win with Auburn and North Carolina, and some of the wins I think make people raise their eye and say, you know what, they're playing. That's an up-and-coming program. That's a program on the rise that has the ability to really do some strong things. So I think it has huge implications for us. I also think from a recruiting standpoint, we'll never know what difference that makes in the eyes of a recruit as they're sitting down watching the game on TV or in person and saying, you know what, this is a program I'd love to have the opportunity because it is an up-and-coming program. So hard to probably measure that or evaluate it, but I think it would be foolish to say that it doesn't have a huge impact in the big picture of what we're trying to build here at the University of South Florida.
Skip, you've had success obviously with your pass rush this year. It's been very good. What kind of challenges does Harris or Morris face with their mobility behind that line?
Well, and what they're doing a great job of, the Miami offense, is you look at it right now, they're buying a lot of time. They're big up front. They can protect it. They turn back. They're very good pass protectors, and they can give their quarterback, whichever one it is, Harris or Morris, they can give them time back there to throw the ball and to get rid of it. And then you've got to be able to hold up on the perimeter. So it's very hard to pressure. If you're going to get there this week, you're going to have to get there with a traditional front. It's going to be very difficult to outnumber them or to overload the box, because you can't rob Peter to pay Paul, because they are strong enough to hurt you on the other side. So there will be an awful lot that will fall on to Corey Grissom inside, to fall on McCaskill and Giddens and Hampton and Forte and Claude Davis and some of those guys that have been making an impact for us. But right now we've been fortunate to be able to create a lot of sacks and lost yardage plays, but a lot of it has been because we've had the ability to line up and pressure some people, where you're going to be very restricted here with what you can do from a pressure package standpoint because of all the weapons that they have.
Skip, you're not lacking for motivation in this game, but is there any spark or any motivation from the fact that this is a Big East team and an ACC team, given what's happened in the last couple of months?
Yeah, I don't think that will come into play or be the spark that just the in-state rivalry, growing up, the relationships. Half of our players, like I said, played for or played against, played with or played against a lot of the guys that are on that football team. So there's a lot of personal relationships. I think that will go deeper than the big picture of the ACC or the Big East or kind of what's going on with the future of all that.
Skip, I want to ask you just about BJ's demeanor during games. You talked a lot about him limiting mistakes, but just the way he's been relaxed, no matter what the circumstances have been this season.
The poise that he has had. And, somebody had made the comment to me and sent me an email earlier about they didn't like how BJ was as relaxed as he was in some of these games maybe that we may have lost in a fourth quarter game. But the poise that he is showing right now compared to where he was a year ago, and where he was a year ago, we've talked about the game was probably moving in fast forward and everything was happening so quick. The way the game has slowed down for him has really, it's almost like slowed down his blood pressure, his heart rate, and he's standing back there in the pocket. He is poised, he's making good decisions, he's relaxed, he's comfortable, he's confident. I think it's just an incredible testament to him and the hard work that he put into the bowl practice for a year ago at Clemson, the off-season, the spring practice, what he did in the summer, getting all these guys out here, throwing with them. And you've got to remember as well, not only has he done this, but he spent his summer with guys like Bravo Brown, A.J. Love, Sterling Griffin, a lot of those guys that halfway through the season have been taken away from him. And he has had to build relationships with Andre Davis, with Ruben Gonzalez, with Deontay Welch, with some of the young freshmen that some of them weren't even here in the summer. And so it's been a heck of a transition, and just the confidence that he's shown in those guys to be able to lay the ball up or to pick, you know what, I've got Andre Davis one-on-one, I'm going to take that shot, where everybody's got a favorite receiver. And it was pretty obvious early, Sterling Griffin and him had really developed a pretty unique relationship. And all of a sudden to have Sterling taken away from him, and for him to have the confidence of the wide receivers, I just think it's a real testament to B.J. Daniels, the way he's grown as a person, as a leader, the leadership role that he's taken on the field, the way he's controlling the tempo of the offense. I've said this time and time again, I don't know that I've ever had a quarterback that has made the progress from one year to the next as B.J. Daniels has from last year to this year. He's protecting the football. I don't know that we could ask anything more of him. And I think Todd Fitch and Peter Voss and B.J. Daniels all deserve credit for the way that he's developed as not just an athlete playing quarterback, but a quarterback who's very athletic.
Is BJ's play part of the reason why he got a little more aggressive in the play calling last week?
Really, it's been probably predicated more upon the game that we're walking into. We felt like, you know, at Ball State, we really kind of took the gloves off. We were struggling running. They were loading the box, and we put BJ in the pocket and let him throw it. And him and the wide receivers, they answered it. And that's when I felt like offensively we had a chance to be a pretty productive football team. When you can run it and throw it, and you look at the balance in this game, we ran for 221 and threw for 250. When you can have balance as a football team, it really gives you some nice options. And that was one of the things we talked about at Connecticut. We weren't able to throw the ball. We were just off for whatever that reason was early in the game. We became a little bit more one-dimensional. But I have great confidence right now in our offensive line and protecting them. We hit that stretch there in the middle when we were trying to break in some new receivers where we probably didn't throw the ball as well as we were earlier in the year. But right now, with the way some of those young wide receivers are playing, it definitely makes you feel more comfortable in giving BJ an option to run it or throw it. It makes you much more comfortable with that, yes. But I've said this before, I don't want to have balance. If you're a better running team than throwing, there's no sense in having balance. When you can do them both, having balance gives you the ability to be a very strong offensive football team. And there in the middle of the year, we weren't throwing it near as well as we were early, and a lot of that was because of the injuries and breaking in the young guys. But with those young guys that come, I feel much more comfortable with it today than we did 3 weeks ago.
Skip, this is a little off topic, but if you wouldn't mind, just kind of address the role of the grad assistants, if you wouldn't mind, because these are guys that work extremely hard, long hours, little pay, and they make your job a heck of a lot easier.
Well, they give us the ability to do what we do as coaches, which is kind of grade the film, study the film, and coach what we're doing on practice with the fundamentals. The graduate assistants are one of those feet paddling like crazy underneath the duck to make it go forward. You know, a lot of the coaches have the opportunity when we walk in to get on Miami this week after the Syracuse game. Last week when we were playing Syracuse, the GAs were not only at practice every day doing the same things the coaches were doing, but when the coaches went home, they started breaking down Miami and putting Miami into the computer. So when we came in here on Saturday and you hit Miami, everything's pulled up, everything's broken down, everything's in the computer, but they are kind of the legs underneath the program that are giving it a chance to go forward. And we have 5 graduate assistants that 2 of them are on the field, 3 of them are off the field. And I think all of them do a great job for the program. But it is one of those internships that you have to do to get into the business, because everybody wants you to have experience to be able to hire you, but how do you gain experience if nobody will hire you? So that's where that internship, and we have given our graduate assistants quite a bit of responsibility, and I think they have done a great job with it.
Forgive me for not knowing your resume down pat, but did you serve as a GA?
I was a graduate assistant at Florida State with Bobby Bowden. That was where that's where I got my roots into coaching. That's where I went to go gain my experience with John Eason as the receiver coach and Wayne McDuffie as the offensive coordinator, and had a great experience there and probably learned as much or more football in those 2 years of being a graduate assistant breaking down film than I had before or since. It's a great learning tool for a lot of the younger guys that want to get into the business. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. It's great to be home. There's no place like home. Look forward to seeing everybody this